Hopefully by now you know that sound, and it means it is time for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. Every week we feature 3 fugitives who are on the run. They could be in our community right now, making us all just a little bit less safe. And it is up to you and the tips that come into the incredible Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department to get them off the streets in front of a judge where they belong, facing serious charges. As we do every week, we're going to welcome in Detective Red Dyer with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, we do this every week in conjunction with Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County. Why is it so important?
Well, Dan, aside from the pleasure of working with such a professional news organization like Channel 19, it helps the community to help clean up their neighborhoods, get justice for these victims, get dangerous people off of our streets and in a courtroom where they need to be. And it also opens up the potential for the community to earn a potential reward, which we'll get into a little later.
I love that money is a motivator, and let's remind people, whether directly or indirectly, we have about a 70% capture rate. That's 70 capture rate of the fugitives that are featured here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. We also obviously feature them on Channel 19 during our broadcasts. So when we put out a face and a name and a crime, oftentimes it ends up with them in behind bars and in a courtroom. Detective, let's get to our very first fugitive for the week. Let's get to Eric Viera. Viera. We're going to go with Viera. Eric Viera, what do we know?
Well, Dan, what we know about Eric is he actually has 2 warrants with the Sheriff's Department. In one case, he's wanted for burglary and criminal damaging. In his other case, he pled guilty to attempted felonious assault and having weapons while under disability. According to reports in that case, Eric carjacked the victim, who was driving a Dodge Charger. As the victim attempted to run away, Eric shot at them multiple times, striking the victim. So we're talking about a very serious crime. He failed to appear for a probation violation hearing, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. He should be considered armed and dangerous.
And it looks like we just lost Detective Red Dyer on his call. That's the first time we've ever had that happen. I'm assuming he'll call back here in a second. And in fact, we're getting them back on the line. So, Detective, looks like you're back with us. No worries. Sometimes technology has a mind of its own. So I tell you what, just so that we make sure that everybody gets equal time of all our fugitives, we're going to restart with Eric. Let's get to the case of Eric Viera. What do we know?
Well, Dan, we know that Mr. Viera has 2 warrants with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. In one case, he's wanted for burglary and criminal damaging. In his other case, he pled guilty to attempted felonious assault and having weapons while under disability. According to reports in that case, Eric carjacked the victim, who was driving a Dodge Charger. As the victim attempted to run away, Eric shot at them multiple times, striking the victims. We're talking about a very serious crime, Dan. He failed to appear for a probation violation hearing, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. He should be considered armed and dangerous. He's approximately 5'4" and 150 pounds and can be identified by the tattoos on his neck to include the number 24. He was last known to be staying in the 10,000 block of Rose Hill Avenue in the city of Cleveland.
Love technology. Thanks for redoing that for us, Detective. Serious crimes, carjacking, weapons, when you're a felon, shooting at someone trying to get away. We can understand why we'd like to get him off our streets. Let's get to our second case, our second fugitive. What do we know about Wade Acers?
Well, Dan, what we know is he's wanted on a serious charge of felonious assault with the Sheriff's Department. According to indictments, he used a knife to assault the victim. He actually has an extensive criminal history with the Sheriff's Department dating back to 1998. For instance, in 2021, he pled guilty to domestic violence, and reports in that case state that he dragged the victim out of bed by their hair. The victim had to grab a TV stand to prevent him from dragging them outside. He can be identified by a cross tattoo on his neck. He's approximately 5'10" and 180 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 3100 block of West 41st Street in the city of Cleveland.
You can see that prominent tattoo on the side of his neck there and the side mugshot. It's been very interesting, Red, in our years of doing Cuyahoga's Most Wanted. We've seen a lot of tattoos, and it makes an individual awfully easy to spot when they are out on the street. Such is the case with our next fugitive. And this is not the first time we've seen a religious tattoo on someone facing very serious violent crime charges. What do we know about Tommyon Smith?
Well, Dan, Mr. Smith is wanted for 2 cases with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. In one case, it's alleged that in July of 2024, he used a metal can to strike the victim in the head, causing a large gash which required stitches. In his second case, it's alleged that he was in possession of a Glock 9mm handgun with a switch that converts it to fully automatic. He was placed on a GPS monitor, but in January, he cut his ankle monitor off and fled. And we know people who cut their monitors off do not want to be found. He can be identified by a tattoo of what appears to be a cross on his forehead. He's approximately 5'10" and 125 pounds. He was last known to be staying in the 2300 block of East 40th Street in the city of Cleveland.
What would Jesus do? He would not take a metal can and smash it into someone's head to the point of where they needed stitches. That's, I think, not in the Bible. I didn't read that specifically in the Bible, but it should be in there. Detective, when we think about people making the phone call to Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County, people get nervous. Hey, if this guy's already smashed a can into the head of somebody, what's he going to do to me if he finds out I'm the one who made the phone call? That's why Crime Stoppers works, because this fugitive will not find out. Why is that?
Well, Dan, as we go through every week, but for our new viewers who don't know, we don't record your phone calls. We don't take down your name or any personal identifying information. Every contact you have through us is referenced through an anonymous tip number that's provided to you when you contact us. Your information is never exchanged.
Think of it as a tracking number on a package. You have that tracking number when you call in your tip to Crime Stoppers. You call back in 45 days, see if it was your tip that led to an arrest, and you could be eligible for a reward. 216-252-7463 is the number to Crime Stoppers. That's not the number here to Channel 19. That goes right to Crime Stoppers. Detective Red Dyer, when we talk about up to a $5,000 reward for a tip that leads to an arrest, what do you like people to know?
That crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Crime Stoppers does. These tips come in and are fanned out to wherever in Northeast Ohio. This isn't just a Cuyahoga County thing. If you know this is somebody that's staying in Stark, Summit, Lake, Ashtabula County, these tips can help the talented women and men of law enforcement all over make us all just a bit safer by getting fugitives off the week. Detective, that's going to wrap it up again for this week. Let's go out and get them.
Let's do it.
All right, take care. Take care, Red. That's going to wrap it up for Cuyahoga's Most Wanted this week. Again, 216-252-7463. And to our fugitives, when you hear that we have a 70% capture rate, whether directly or indirectly of being featured here on Cuyahoga's Most Wanted, to you I say, good luck. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.